This is an illustrated documentary series of the local and international travels of Dr. Jose Rizal from 1882 to 1896. Many of the landmarks and markers, photographs, and video clips shown in this series are the actual places mentioned in his travels, diary, and letters. Started in 2015, this 5-year documentary project is dedicated to the Filipino youths, patriots, and all non-Filipinos who propagate the teachings and ideals of the national hero. I highly recommend this documentary series to students and teachers as a companion reference in studying and teaching the life and travels of Dr. Jose Rizal. This series will bring everyone to where it happened, places where Dr. Rizal has visited, studied, and lived while working for reforms for his country. A 500-page coffee table book is bundled with these videos. Good luck and enjoy the series.
Vaarwel aan Betenland.
My name is Florentino Rodal. I teach at the Complutense University.
My name is Elaine Bracken and I'm here in Belfast, Northern Ireland, and I'm being interviewed about the descendants of Josephine Bracken by Mr. Ricky. I was married to Francis Bracken. He was a direct descendant of James Bracken, who came from Borough, County Offaly, and he married Elizabeth McBride, and they had a daughter, Josephine Bracken, who married Jose Rizal. Okay, as I'm here in Belfast, I have here the marriage certificate between James Bracken and Elizabeth McBride. They were married here in Belfast in St. Patrick's Parish, is it? St. Patrick's, the Roman Catholic Chapel of St. Patrick's in Belfast. 1868, I thought I had read it incorrectly, but it's 1868, all those years ago, and that document still exists to this day. And also have a letter from Austin Coates to Father Kevin, confirming the details of James Bracken being born in Bore, County Offaly, and the marriage to Elizabeth McBride. Very surprised to find that we were related to Josephine Bracken, because the Philippines is so far away from Ireland. We wondered, how did she ever get there? We looked into our history with the help of a Columban missionary and found that she was descended from a James Bracken. He was born in the Republic of Ireland in a little place called Bore, County Offaly. He joined the British Army and was stationed all over the West Indies, Hong Kong, and all over Europe as well. He also had a son called Charles Bracken, who also was in the army. He came back to Ireland. He had 4 sons, and one of those sons also had 4 sons, and we were descended from that family. We first got a phone call from Father Kevin McBride. His name is McBride, and he thought that his relations were related to Josephine Bracken. On further investigation, he found, unfortunately, that he wasn't related, but when he was visiting the Republic of Ireland, he thought he would find out who the relatives of Josephine Bracken were. So he looked in Bore, County Offaly for all the James Brackens in the phone book, but were unable to connect with them. He was about to go back to the Philippines then, and he decided he would try the phone directory for Dublin, and he contacted a James Bracken, who happened to be our brother-in-law. So he rang him and said, "Oh, my brother has all the information, you best ring him." So he rang my husband while he was driving and asked him several questions, and my husband was able to say yes, yes, yes to all these questions. And then Father Kevin McBride said, "Oh, I think I have the descendants of Josephine Bracken." So we were absolutely delighted, because our grandfather Charles Bracken had died before my husband was born. So we were so delighted to find any information we had on Josephine Bracken then. So we collected all the documents we could from everybody. Father Kevin gave us all the documents he had collected, and then we found that there was a website for Josephine Bracken also created by Mr. Burke, and we were delighted with that also. The Philippine Embassy contacted us with to ask us information we had and where we were the descendants of Josephine Bracken also. We were so delighted to be related to somebody so famous as Rizal, and it's added a new chapter into our history, which we never knew was there. We travel a lot, but We did plan that someday we would hope to see the Josephine Bracken Street in the Philippines, in Manila, and also to see all the monuments and commemorations dedicated to Jose Rizal. We were in Sydney in 2015, and we have a photograph taken there was a bust of Jose Rizal near Central Station in Sydney, and we knew immediately who he was, and we have photographs taken with that, even though it's just the statue. But yes, we've taken him into our hearts now as part of us, part of our heritage now. Okay, this is the photograph taken in Sydney. This is my husband, and this is my daughter who lives in Sydney. And this is your friend, Jose Rizal, in the middle. Very important person. Here's a very old photograph. This is Charles Bracken. He was the son of James Bracken and also the sister or the brother to Josephine Bracken. This is his wife and two of his sons, Alec and Jack. And here's some other ones. This is the same photograph here with these two. That's a Francis Bracken, and this is James Bracken. He went to New York and died in the 1940s. He stayed in Ireland, and these four people here are the four sons of Francis Bracken. This is John Bracken, Francis Bracken, Charles Bracken and James Bracken. As you can see, the names keep coming down the generations, and still to this day we have a Francis Bracken, a James Bracken and a Charles Bracken in the next generations. We have yet to name a Josephine Bracken, but we will someday. Yeah. It was given to us by Father Kevin McBride as the reenactment of the execution of Jose Rizal during the centenary celebrations in December in 1996. This was in Rizal Park, Manila. So hopefully someday we'll get to see this monument. I was delighted, we were delighted, the Bracken family, to be contacted by Mr. Ricky in connection with the story. All these documents are filed away, and it was lovely to pull them out again and remember the heritage and all the past stories. Someday we will get to the Philippines and get to Hong Kong to see where Josephine lived and where Jose Rizal lived also. And it's just so nice it's nice to look forward to the future, but you must also remember your past. It's because you can't go forward until you look to your past for guidance.
Hello, my name is Michael Burke. I live in Dublin in Ireland. I first got to hear about Josephine Bracken about 2001, and I decided to research her story to see what I can find out. That brought me to the United Kingdom, Hong Kong, the Philippines, and Ireland, of course. There's material on her in Ireland, and the end result was I wrote her story. It's a short version of her story. Her story would be much longer than I've written, but I wrote her story and it's online. You can find it at brackenjosephine.blogspot.com. So I haven't found out everything I'd like to know about Josephine, but I think I've got as far as I'm going to get. I'm quite proud that one of the things I discovered was that she was fully Irish. Both her parents were Irish. In some books, by some writers, there's a feeling that she was Anglo-Chinese, half Irish. but I've managed to debunk that, I think, and you can read all about it in the website. I first heard about Josephine Bracken from a young Filipino man here in Ireland. I asked him to explain to me about Jose Rizal. I had been to the Philippines a few years before this, and you couldn't help but notice the statues to Rizal, the elementary schools, the coins, the peso. They all refer to Jose Rizal. So I asked him to explain to me about Jose Rizal, and he gave me a brief history. But at the end of it, what he said to me was a shock or surprise. He said Jose Rizal's wife was Irish. Her name was Josephine Bracken. Now, we in Ireland, we're a fairly small country, and we tend to have a fair idea of anyone of Irish descent who does anything notable in foreign countries, and I had never heard of her before. It was a total shock, and as it turns out, very few people in Ireland had ever heard of her. Very, very few. So that was what prompted me to try and find out more, to find out her full story. And this I proceeded to do, I think, fairly well, without boasting, I hope.
You did actual research,
Yeah.
while you were in Hong Kong, or while you were in...
Yeah, well, you know, looking for death certs, visiting the cemetery where I found the grave of her mother, and looked for Josephine's grave, but unfortunately there seems to be no trace of it.
What was your reaction when you found something interesting?
This was the first time I had done any, what you might call, historical research, and sometimes you get a bit of information and you draw the wrong conclusion. You think you found something important, but when you check it against another source, you discover no, that's not correct. Research the life of Josephine Bracken. You're not going to find out everything you want to. You try, you keep an open mind. There's two things I'd like to find out about Josephine. Probably I'll never discover. One is where exactly she's buried in the cemetery in Hong Kong. Where is her exact grave? Probably never know for certain. The other is to do with her father, James. After he finished in the army, he lived in Dublin for a while, and then he just seemed to disappear. He doesn't appear in the census, he doesn't appear in the death records. I've no idea when he died and where he's buried. Maybe that one we'll discover someday, but for the moment, it's a mystery. Yeah, my expectations for the future, you know, some people have said I should write a book or do a documentary film or a radio program. Maybe, but what I'm thinking of is the 150th anniversary of Josephine's birth will be in 2026, and I'm going to write to the postal authorities here in Ireland suggesting they do a commemorative stamp. And you know, if the same were to happen in the Philippines, if the two postal authorities in both countries could get together and issue the same or similar stamp at the same time, that'd be very wonderful. That might be unique for two countries to come together like that and celebrate the life of Josephine Bracken. What I'd say to the young Filipinos is, remember your history. Jose Rizal was a very important man. He's been described as a genius, and he was. He was very talented. He was proud. He was proud to be a Filipino, and he let no one take that away from him. And I would say to young Filipinos, celebrate your country, celebrate your heritage, keep interested in it.